Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. Thomas is rejoining us. Max is not here. He's off gallivanting in the Lake District. Terry is here, and we're all not happy. We're not shiny, happy people today. Yeah, but, you know, I don't know. At this point, these kind of things, we're expecting some of this stuff, which kind of sucks, but hey, it'll be all right. So, guys, Newcastle reaction. Obviously, lost 3-2. Spoiler alert for those of you who've recorded the game. Sorry, I spoiled it before I said spoiler alert. I'm going to give these guys a few topics and let them kind of pick. Thomas, you being the guy who's had to face the majority, the lion's share of the abuse. If you want to start with Silva's subs, mainly Mina, you can start with Pickford, his behavior and mentality. You can talk about we had a little bit more incompetence from the referees. Yeah, so which one of those three do you want to start with?
I wouldn't dwell on the referees because I think we were asking for it, really. I know everyone was offside, but I think they would have scored the third anyway. It would have gone in either way. I think I'll start with the substitutions. I've seen it before. Rondon, you know, he's a big striker. They can just launch it up to him. But I think that Keane and Zuma were not doing badly and handling him at all. Like, I get they were pushing players forwards, but I don't think it was necessary. You're only one goal ahead. I think he came on when it was 2-1. You can, if you want to show up shop, you either do it later. You don't go negative from that point. Also, Richarlison was one of our brightest players again, and he took him off. I just didn't understand that. I get Bernard had another very good game. I thought Calvert-Lewin played well. Obviously, he's not constantly scoring at the moment, but he's playing well as linking up. And then pushing Sigurdsson out right didn't work either. He's either obviously under Unsworth and Allardyce, we saw him kind of be put on the left. And although he wasn't great there, he's still a lot better than he could do on the right. And then Theo Walcott, what else can you say about him? He came on and did absolutely nothing. He lost the ball a few times. There was a time where he was on the edge of the box, and he instead of just taking a touch and putting the ball in, he decided to head it back across to no one. He doesn't seem like. I know players, when they struggle for form, they struggle for confidence, they make bad decisions, but he seems to be making all bad decisions. He rarely seems to do anything good at the moment. I'm not going to turn this into a Theo Walcott report.
You wouldn't be the only one, Thomas, because I have a feeling that a lot of people listening and watching have no problem if you just want to just rail on Walcott for a while. It's a thing.
But I think it definitely highlights our need for further depth in the squad. Lookman came on, didn't manage to affect the game. But the fact that we then have to turn to Walcott, that can't surely be our next option, to just stick Walcott on and just see what he does. I think in terms of substitutions, in comparison to Benitez, Benitez's substitution changed the game. They started with their usual five at the back with Richie at left wing back. Then when he took off the cells and put Dummett on, so they went four at the back, and then Richie could push further forwards, and their midfield could get on the ball more. They were getting further up. That changed the game. Silva just wasn't equal to it. The substitution of Mina, I still didn't really understand. It had to come later, and it definitely didn't have to come with Richarlison. It should have happened in a different way, but I really don't think it was necessary. And I was surprised when he came on, because I was presuming he was going to bring on another attacker to get another one, but maybe it shows he's maybe lacking some confidence at the moment. Instead of going for the win, he's decided to not go for the loss, which obviously didn't work in the end. But maybe but the thing is, at the back of the Cardiff and the Liverpool games, you think he'd come in with a bit more confidence. So I think instead of trying to seal the win, he decided to sit back, which is not maybe what we were expecting. Maybe you'd say that from Allardyce last season, but his substitutions were disappointing and highlighted more the fact that Benitez's substitutions changed the game.
I applauded the attempt by Silva, because there are times where you're sitting there. I remember in the past where we thought Martinez, And we thought, what on earth are you doing bringing Nias on in this particular instance? Why didn't we make a defensive substitution? And so he made a defensive substitution. So I liked the fact that there was some thinking there, like, hey, the Premier League is not to be taken for granted, no matter who you're playing. However, I would have kind of wanted a different type of substitution in that I would have thought of Schneiderlin for that particular instance. I would not have disturbed our shape. I actually thought our shape, like we were just absolutely overrun in the midfield after that, and we couldn't put together any kind of attack, like none. And part of the thing that was keeping us safe was the fact that we were on the ball so much and attacking so much, and they didn't. I mean, if they're constantly putting a barrage of shots on our goal, yeah, they're going to score. So I just thought it was a tactical issue. Terry, are you on board pretty much with what both of us have said so far?
Yeah, can't really add much to what Thomas has said. I think what gets overlooked a little bit is he's probably brought Mina on to not only try and see the game out, but he also wants to get him minutes before next week. We're playing Chelsea.
I have heard people saying that.
Zuma can't play next week, and he probably wants to get him a little bit of time on the pitch before he starts him against a good team. So it's cost us. I don't think that's the only reason. I can see why why he did it. It didn't come off, but I'm with you guys. I think Schneiderlin coming on would have been the better move to sort of close things down in midfield and stop things getting through. But going to 5 at the back just invited them onto us even more, and it just, as you say, disrupted the shape and made things. It made it harder to defend than it did easier having the extra man there.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where they had pushed some people forward, like Thomas had mentioned, and we were not equipped. We did not have enough people back to be able to handle that. Really disappointing watching. I'm trying to remember that little dinked ball. I guess it was from Jose Perez that went over the heads of pretty much all of our guys in the back, and no one had stuck with Rondon. You know what I mean? Like on that run. Yeah. Because Rondon had the ball distributed and then no one tracked him back. No one even knew he was there. And that was frustrating to watch a replay of, frankly.
It was really strange. In the first half, I thought the defence was completely solid. They didn't really seem to have many issues. Then at that moment, they just seemed to start flapping. That's when, I think that was the first goal. That's when the first goal went in. But it was confusing to watch because everyone had seemed so solid in the first half. And all of a sudden, everyone kind of panicked a bit, kind of abandoned their positions. Kenny was right across. No one was picking up anyone on that side. And it was just strange to see. I think it kind of just reflects the mentality that, you were 2 goals up. We dominated first half. Like, they didn't really create anything too much of note. We just calm down. There's no need for everyone to start panicking and trying to rush to the ball and trying to tackle immediately. We were in a fine position and everyone just... I was confused when it happened because, like, we could all see it because it was on the other side of us, but it's like, we can see clearly that Rondon's there. Why are you all going across? Everyone just needs to relax. It was a very good finish by Rondon, but it was just frustrating because it didn't have to happen.
Did it deflect off of Kenny's just slightly?
I've refused to watch any replays. I just haven't been able to.
The only ones I saw were like right there, right after it happened. So yeah, it looked as though it was pretty straight down the middle in terms of the finish, and it went just past. And the only thing that would have made sense to me as far as Pickford not getting hold of it is if it had a little deflection. So that's me trying to make sense of him not actually grabbing that one. Terry, do you want to talk about Pickford a little bit, but without giving too much, because we do have a segment on Pickford coming up next.
I'll try and keep it brief because...
Well, honestly, I think it's an easy thing to rant about, frankly. Let's keep it to this game, and then we'll elaborate a little bit more in broader terms in the segment, I think.
Okay. He's cost us that game. He's straight up let the rest of the team down. Now, don't get me wrong, there was mistakes in other parts of the pitch. The manager's substitutions weren't great, but I don't think the manager or the rest of the team can legislate for a player having a game like that, a goalkeeper. He's meant to be one of the key players in the team. He's meant to be one of the most high-profile players in the team, and he's cost us that game. He's been let off massively in the first half. He's completely took the player out with a rugby tackle because he's made a mistake. He's come to collect the ball, made an absolute mess of it, and then took the player out deliberately. He shouldn't be even on the pitch at that point. He stays on the pitch. He saves the penalty. And then at that point, he should think, I've got away with this massively. He should keep his head down and just see the game out. And then if he does that and we win and it's 2-0, because literally seconds after the penalty save, we score up to the end and make it 2-0. Then that should be, Pickford should then just go, right, well, I'm going to keep a low profile for the rest of the game. He doesn't do that. He plays up to the crowd. He lets the emotion get the better of him. He's not a Sunderland player anymore. What's he doing? Why is he trying to overrun and battle with the whole home crowds of Newcastle? Like, I know they're giving him stick. It happens. To give it back at the end of the game, like when we beat them at Goodison last year, he'd been getting an abuse, a load of abuse off them all game from the away section, and then when we won, he ran over and stuck his tongue out at them. That's fair enough. Don't do it in the middle of a match and let it affect your play, because I'm trying to think of the goals now. And the second goal, completely his fault. He's got a shot. He sees that shot coming for miles, and although it's got some decent power on it, all he needs to do is smash that into the sky, like he's done before. Puts it right back on the boot of their striker.
Straightforward.
Yeah, and then the other one, there was times where he was let off massively, where he comes for the ball and doesn't get it, and then it rolls past the post, and he's trying to taunt the home fans there. It's like, it's just asking for it. He's completely cost us our result there because of what he has turned almost single-handedly, for me, a win into a defeat, and it's ridiculous. One of the worst performances I've seen individually by him since he's been at the club, if not the worst.
So I think you should try that again, and this time stop trying to hide your real opinions. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with a lot of that. Thomas, what do you have to say about this?
I completely agree. I think he forgot it was Newcastle Everton. He made it Jordan Pickford versus the Newcastle fans. He didn't need to do that. I get they were giving him abuse, but he's a professional footballer. He can handle a couple of boos. It got worse when he started reacting. All he had to do was ignore them. I get when you save a penalty, you're gonna react and you're gonna celebrate anyway. But he didn't need the rest of it. He made it. He tried to make it about himself. I'm not sure if you've seen the video when he was walking down the tunnel at the end.
So bad.
Didn't need that either. He just, clearly not very happy, but he didn't need to do it. It all seems to just, it's clearly gone to his head, but he just needs to, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. He just needed to calm down. He didn't need to react in that way. And I agree, cost us the game.
So his behavior reminded me of the way it's easy to go wrong leading up to a derby, leading up to a game against a rival. It's really easy to let your emotions take control, and you're all about aggression, and you're all about just, Marco Silva talked about it a lot the week leading up to the derby. Emotional balance. Yes, we want to be up for this, but we have to be smart. It's the kind of thing that leads to stupid red cards in a rival game. When you're playing a derby, stupid red cards happen. People get all amped up, and then Ramiro Funes Mori. You know what I mean? Stupid stuff like that. It's not balanced. And you've got to be a mature professional to be able to figure out how to take those emotions of a derby, of a rivalry, and channel them into the right format. Aggression is one thing, stupidity is another. And I just think it was immature. It was immature. He lacked that emotional balance. I would think he would get an earful from Silva afterward. All right? He should. I thought he was going to get red carded. I have no idea why he didn't even get a yellow. Okay? That, to me, if I was a Newcastle supporter, I'd been just yelling about the refs. I would have been so angry about the refs. So that's what kind of makes the referees gifting them an offside goal a little more balanced. It's like, hey, they screwed up the whole game, didn't they? I'm just sick of those kind of decisions going against us, I'll be honest. All right, I think we've had more than one offside goal determine a game against us. We've had handball goals. We've had players deceive match officials. It's been really bad moments that I'm sick and tired of. I hate that. Granted, that's not why we lost the game. Thomas, you make a good point. We probably would have given it up because Silva had made some decisions that had altered our shape for the worse. All right, I still think we'd have lost that damn game. And we were just momentum was gone against us, far gone, and we were not even close to threatening after that. But those refereeing decisions are just absolutely there's no excuse for that. I mean, I am just some schmo in North Carolina, and I saw how offsides those guys were. And I had no idea. I was like scouring Twitter, and I was like, why are people not commenting on this? Well, it's because our performance was so shitty, we didn't think about that. That's what overrode this. But if we had actually performed, and that we'd have been way more angry. So I'm trying to keep that anger here, because we deserve to be a little angry about that. But I'm more pissed off about Silva's decision. And yeah. So it's almost like there needs to be a hierarchy of anger. How to rank my anger about that, what turned into a shit show. It really did. It was really disappointing. So I would say out of all these things, it's tough. You got Pickford, you got Silva subs, and refereeing incompetence. 3 things that really did chalk up to us losing that game. Put all those things together, and the referee was in third.
The referee. The thing is, there was 3,000 of us. I'm not sure if you know where the away fans sit at St James Park, Terry, but it's absolutely miles up. It's like 140 stairs up or something to get to level 7 where the away fans sit. 3,000 of us. That high. It was on the complete other side of the pitch in front of the gallery. We could all see it was offside.
Jesus.
Like the replays show, there was about 5 of them offside.
5 players.
Yeah.
Surely you could catch one of them. Like Ayoze Perez was blatantly offside. The ball didn't go directly to him, but you could still see the others. Like, I know people say sometimes it's a close call, but if it's a close call, it's offside. These are the professionals. They're there to make sure that they're the ones that make the decision. If they're not going to make a decision in a close call, I might as well do it. You might as well do it. What's the point in them being there if they can't make the close call?
Wasn't it Rondon, the one who actually made the play on the ball? And he was offside too, right?
They're all offside, Gerry.
How does a linesman miss fully half of a team offside? 10 outfield players, 5 are offside. All of them are offside. There is not one player onside in that move. And I know we were terrible, and I know Pickford's, endeavoured to, throw it in his own net all game. But I'm with you, Gerry. I'm sick of this now. We are massively in, deficit for refereeing decisions this season. It feels like it's gone against us a million times this season. Like the Man United, the penalty that they shouldn't have had. Arsenal had an offside goal. They had like 2 or 3 players offside. Tottenham, we had a goal ruled out when it wasn't. There was nothing.
I totally forgot about that one. Damn.
Just constant, and now we've had a whole half opposition team offside, and they've scored a goal. It's like, they balanced themselves out over a year.
Not this year.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely awful. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been times this season where we've been terrible, and no referee help would have, saved us. But I'm sorry, when you're away and it's 2-2, and the game's tight on a knife edge, it could go either way. Or even if it couldn't go either way, you can't blame the manager's substitutions. You can't blame poor players having poor games when the referee is going to give a goal where half the opposition team are all offside. That's ridiculous. How would you defend against that? When I first saw it, I was like, another lofted ball and everyone switches off. But they don't switch off. They're all playing a perfect line, and they're offside. So I can't even blame them for that. And yeah, probably would have still lost. We probably would have found another way to concede, knowing Everton. But it's ridiculous. If I was at the club, I would literally in the summer just make a compilation of all these decisions and just send it to the FA and go, you need to put VAR in next season. I don't care what these idiots in the press say, like, oh, it's bad for the game, or whatever other nonsense they come out with. It's not. It doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot, because it's getting beyond a joke. And it's not just us, but obviously we watch us more than we watch anyone else, so we see it for ourselves the most. How many times is it going to happen this season where we are done by poor refereeing? Help them. If they do it, help them.
Do you see Silva was fined as well? I think that came out today. He's been fined for going up the linesman at the end.
He's been charged. He hasn't been fined.
Yeah, all I heard is they were looking into it. They were going to read the ref's report.
These always end up in.
I'm sorry. I know, it's par for the course that if a manager gets in a referee's face, you get charged. But he can't give a goal where half the opposition team are offside and then have the manager not say anything.
You have to let him say something. He's got to. The only way, unless he gets physical or decides to just take a leak on the ref's shoes because he's so pissed off, that may be okay. Fine him, but he deserves to yell there. What more could be said? What I don't know. If he's not physical and he's not insulting their family.
Results cost managers jobs inevitably. And Marco Silva could eventually lose his job due to too many defeats. And there's one that the referee has put in his defeats column for him. So I think Silva's got every right to be aggrieved, going, no, these results, my job swings on these results, and you've just give a winning goal against me with 5 players offside. It's not marginal. It's not one player. It's ridiculous. It's so bad that the referees in this most high-profile league in the world are this poor, because they're doing it every single week now for different teams.
I have loved watching Bundesliga. We get Bundesliga games here. It's the only other league here that we get to see a bunch of games. MLS, you have to have to go through a pay service here if you want to watch most MLS games, which is shitty, really, really shitty, because it's our, But I've been loving watching Bundesliga because you know what? They usually get them right with VAR. They usually get them right. There's still mistakes every once in a while, but the vast majority are correct. And I'm just sick of these. Yeah. We were out of the cup because of a handball goal. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And there were other matches that had VAR during that round. But because we were playing Millwall, we didn't get it. What is that shit? I don't know.
Whatever else you can say about us this season, whether we were good, bad, or indifferent, we've had it really, really bad with officials this year. We've had so many unjust decisions go against us. Would it make a massive difference to our league standing? Probably not huge, but it would have made... You don't know that. If we don't lose to Man United, or we don't lose to Arsenal, or whatever it is, earlier in the season, that could have a knock-on effect for different games. You don't know. These are big decisions. Once or twice, it will happen to every club across the season, but the amount of times we're getting it this season is ridiculous. It's not even... I don't even think it's an issue of, it's because it's us or so on. No, it's a bit too conspiracy theorist for me, that. It's just point-blank ineptitude. It's just poor officiating, and it's costing us an undue amount this season.
Yeah, I've got my little message back there to the FA talking about a campaign against Everton. It's a joke. I don't actually think there's a campaign against Everton. And for podcasters, I have a whiteboard in here that I write messages on just to see if anybody actually reads them. But I don't actually think there's a campaign against Everton. But we've been kind of on the wrong side of some really bad calls. And it's been too many. It's been too many. All right? And if we were one of the top 6 clubs, I think there would be a lot more made of those decisions. A lot more.
I haven't even spoke about 2 potential penalty shouts, because there's one on Sigurdsson, one on Luca Dean.
The one on Sigurdsson, I was so confused with that. He seemed to get absolutely flattened by someone, and no one around me really reacted. It was like, I haven't seen the replays at all, but I haven't seen what happened, but it seemed blatant from where I was standing. But nobody else seemed to react, so I just kind of shut up. I thought I was just being ridiculous.
Bernard plays him down the line, and he goes past the player. I think it's Shaw. Commits, and his legs go into Sigurdsson after Sigurdsson's played the ball past him. But on replay, it looks like Sigurdsson's going down early. But it's a penalty. Like that's the one that Silvers took the most exception with. Like this, he said in the post match that the Sigurdsson penalty would have changed the whole game because of the time it was. And match of the day also flagged another one where Luca Dean's put a cross in, but been absolutely taken out by the player after he's released the ball, and it's in the box. So. And then obviously a blatant red card from our keeper. So it's like the refs are just awful. Like it's.
You mentioned Shaw there. So just one last point. Shaw was absolutely awful. First half, his head was completely gone. His pass was awful. He wasn't in position. He started that fight when Digne and Zuma clashed heads, but we didn't even try and punish it at all. We just kind of let it be. He was absolutely dreadful. I've seen him play this season, and he's been very good. He cost like 4 million or something. He's been a very good signing. But against us, he was dreadful. His head was gone. He was on a yellow, I think. All we had to do was constantly go against him, and we just left it. We just didn't at all. All you had to do was stick Bernard on Shaw. Bernard can get a yellow card out of the best fullbacks in the league.
The words out my mouth to give it to. I was going to say give it to Bernard and let him run at him.
He can easily get, and he could have been off, but we just didn't challenge it at all. It was just confusing.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Shaw grab Digne and try to pull him up, I was thinking, okay, well he's gonna get a yellow card he's gonna get cautioned for being ridiculous here, right? This is gonna happen, right? Because he had already just moments ago, he clearly his temper was flaring, and so then that happens, and he gets nothing, and then later on he gets cautioned for taking somebody out. I think it was DCL along the side, DCL or Charleston, one of the two, and he got cautioned there. But I looked over at my 6-year-old and I was like, that should probably be his second. He should probably be gone right now. He was clearly out of control though.
I was speaking to my friends as well. It was actually quite interesting. When Digne and Zuma clashed heads, that was actually meant to be a corner, and the ref just missed it completely. So those two go down, they get treatment. The ref just gives a goal kick after he'd already given a corner. That's what they were telling me. I didn't notice it at the time. It's like that's just blatant. Yeah, I didn't notice it either. But because it came off Digne, all they did was clash heads. It wasn't a foul or anything. The ref was like, "Yeah, just play on." That's just, I don't get that. I'm a referee. I could do that on a Saturday morning, but that's me. I don't get paid ridiculous amounts to do it.
One tiny last question. We've run really long on this segment. We can get into more of this about leaders, but anybody think we missed Coleman on the field? Him being out sick.
Kenny played well. Kenny played well in the first half, but he's not the same leader as Coleman is. But okay. I'll save that anyway.
Ish says Terry.
No, not really. I think Kenny did as well as could be expected. I don't think it was a missing Coleman issue. I think other forces were at play, which wouldn't have. I mean, they clearly stuck Rondon on Kenny, which is sensible because he was the smallest and least experienced of our defenders. So, but no, I think Kenny did as well as could be expected.
We will discuss more in our leaders segment after our Pickford segment. But for now, that's it for our Newcastle reaction. I threw up a little bit in my mouth while we were doing it. Pretty standard after a collapse like that. But if you've been digging our videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We sincerely appreciate it. If you want more Terry, check him out, Liverpool Echo fan Gerry. He'll let you know on the Twitters when he's going to be there. Also, if you want more Thomas, he's got some football manager videos that he does for the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. But also, he does some analysis on the old Toffee Blues website, so he contributes there. And he's also runs social media during games sometimes for Toffee Blues. So you may have been reading his words and you didn't even know it. So there's that. All right, guys, let's move on and talk about Pickford. This should be fun. All right, bye.